you so much for honoring my invitation to come to my channel. Welcome to my channel. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Hilda Gloria. If this is your first time, make sure you hit the red subscribe button so that you are notified when I post new videos. And before you forget, take a pause, go to Winnie's channel, and go ahead.
I'm doing okay, Hilda. How are you? I know. Hi, life is good. Life is good. But I noticed you have some breakage in your net, in your connection. Yeah, it's yeah, okay. Okay. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah. Okay. So my name is Winnie Nakimuli. I am an engineer by profession. I'm a telecommunication engineer, just to be specific. I'm currently living in France, basically. I live in a city called Massy. It's close to Paris. And yeah, I'm working with Nokia networks in France. Yeah. Uh, Yes. Okay, Hilda, I notice you're frozen. I think the connection a bit is a problem. The audio is clear, but the video, okay. Okay, so I understand that the people that are here, I think you're, because I know you're working with helping people how to find scholarships in Europe and basically how that is. And so maybe just to give you some background, so my academic background is basically that I did a Bachelor's of Science in Telecommunication Engineering at Makerere University. So, and yeah,
In Uganda.
in Uganda, exactly, yeah. And of course, yeah, so I finished that. So I managed to, yeah, so I managed to get a 4.35 GPA by the end of my bachelor's degree. So what happened is that I started working. So I was working for maybe like 1 year and a half. And maybe this is something I want to tell people that every time you have a job and you're working, always look for the plan B. So in my case, even when I got the job, I knew I needed a plan B, right? So my plan B was to always be looking for a better job. And secondly, the other plan was I needed to basically improve, basically add something else, add a master's to what I already had. So the
Like to upgrade.
exactly to get those. So what happened is that actually my two backup plans basically worked because I got two opportunities at the same time. I got an opportunity to work with the Civil Aviation Authority in Uganda, which there it was basically I was going to double my pay, my current pay at my current job. And then I also got an opportunity to do a master's in Italy. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, so that to get to do the master's in Italy, and how that happened was, so now again, another thing here is that try to tell people what you want, what your dreams are. Try to tell people what your dreams are. So I kept sharing with like some of my friends that were in academia. I'm like, I want to do a master's. I want to do a master's. So what happened is that it came to a point where a friend of mine shared with me a link. It was a link on a LinkedIn. It was a LinkedIn link, and there was basically they were requesting people to apply for this scholarship in Italy. And then,
Yeah.
so as a friend of mine sent me this link about that, then I think also a former professor of mine also shared with me the same link because he knew I wanted to do a master. So this was a scenario where two people sent me the same link about the same scholarship. And so the university is called the University of Trento. I know now some of my, I know now at least I've had a couple of Ugandans who have actually done their masters there. It's a really good university. And in terms of the scholarship itself, is that basically if you have good grades, so this is the minimum here. If you have really good grades, so in my case, I was lucky that I had a 4.35 GPA. Then the European scholarships are really easy. If you have good grades from your bachelor's, really there is nothing much to do there. The main thing is to write now your motivation letter. And when it comes to your motivation letter, that is another selling point. So that selling point is when you're writing your motivation letter, this is where you get to tell your story, basically about your background and also why you think you deserve a scholarship, right? Because there are so many people out there that also want the same scholarship, but why you? So of course you have to talk about so in my case, everybody, I feel like everybody has a story and that story is different in one way or the other. So just tell the story. So I wrote the personal motivation later. I shared it with a colleague of mine who I knew was really good at writing. And just like that, and just like that, I submitted the application with, of course, the grades and all the other requirements, and that's how I got the scholarship for the masters. Maybe, yeah. I think for the University of Trento, yes, it was a university scholarship. So, yes. So the way they use it, that is like what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's merit based. Yes, it's merit based. Yeah, because what happened is that you apply. So they send you the same link they send you for the scholarship is in the same link they send you how to apply to the university. So basically it's like you're applying to the university, then also on top of that you can apply for the scholarship. So they kind of exactly, yes, yes. So it was really a merit based scholarship. That is yeah. Okay, then okay, somebody's asking how did you grow and how long did it take? How did I grow?
The life international spaces. So Winnie is here to help us with this. So she was answering, a little bit about her background, and she told us about where she went to do her master's degree, bachelor's degree, then master's degree, and now she's moving on to the next stage. Go ahead, Winnie.
Yes, please. So you asked how did I come from Italy then to Spain, right?
Yeah, because I
Oh,
know you did your PhD in Spain.
yes, exactly. Yes. So after the
Yeah.
masters, I basically went back to Uganda because I love Uganda.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So I
I
was
thought you went straight from Italy to Spain.
no, honey, no. I had a break. I had to take a break because my masters it was really challenging in the way that I worked with one of the most brilliant professors that I know. And you know, when you work with very brilliant people, yeah, they really make your brain work in ways that you thought it would never work with plan with me. And at some point, I even had like serious tension, stress. I don't want to scare anybody from doing the masters, but like just choose what be careful when you're choosing your professor for the thesis. But I mean, I learned a lot from him. He was a freaking genius, but yeah, it was tough. So after the masters, I needed a break. So I basically returned to Uganda, but also because I love Uganda. My plan was to work in Uganda after the masters. So I returned to Uganda for 4 years. So after I think after like 4 years, I was working there. After like 4 years, I something in me. I think it's something that happened to me. I was kind of, well, it's a long story, but call it your aha moment. I had my an aha moment out of a situation that happened, and my regret in that moment was I hadn't done my PhD. Right, I
Mm.
never. That's the only regret I basically had, and I tried to live my life with no regrets really. So once really the aha moment was as almost colliding into a serious accident, and I would have died, and all that
I
stuff that goes
read
with
the
it.
story on LinkedIn. She actually shares really interesting stories and like very insightful stories on LinkedIn. So I will leave her LinkedIn in the description box for you guys to go and check her out. Yes, so this life
Mhm.
changing scenario, or I would say opportunity,
Exactly.
came to your life, and
Exactly.
you say, "Oh my goodness, I have to do my PhD as soon as possible."
Exactly. And again, going back to with the masters, is that once you talk to people and people know your dreams and what you want to do, people somewhat, when they see an opportunity, they'll basically forward it to you. So similarly, when I knew, okay, I wanted to do my masters, I talked to some friend of mine actually. We were doing research together back home. And another friend of mine, I think he's also who was also in academia. So I think the point here is try to befriend people in academia, right? If you're not working
Mm,
at universities, because usually such people, because they're in the field, they usually
yeah,
know basically what's up, where the
yeah.
opportunities are, where the scholarships. So
Mm,
same thing really. So a friend of mine, again, same thing. The friend of mine I was doing research with shared with me a LinkedIn. So again, my first thing, guys, do you have LinkedIn? Because that is where all the information is. That's where all the scholarships is. All the scholarships I've gotten, they came from LinkedIn posts. A university has
mm,
posted, or some other research institute has posted something. So LinkedIn, be on LinkedIn, be active, right? Be active, post about your achievements, your professional achievements, right? Post
yeah.
about even you yourself as a person, branding wise, what I use. So try to keep your LinkedIn active, because depending on how you profile yourself on LinkedIn, then even
Mm.
some opportunities linked to the LinkedIn algorithm is going to feed these opportunities to you.
Oh,
So basically,
fantastic.
exactly. So in my case, I hadn't really that on LinkedIn. I was really just really no, I was not active that time, but I had friends who knew my dream and who are really active on LinkedIn. So
So
again,
they sent
they
you this
shared
link.
with.
Yeah.
So two people send me the same situation with the masters. Two people send me the same like, hey Winnie, I've seen this opportunity. I think it will be good for you. And the
Wow.
opportunity basically happened to be for a research institute in Spain. The institute is called IMDEA Research Institute. So what
Mm.
this research institute does, the research institute basically works on EU projects. So it is an EU research project. So that it was called EU Horizon 2020 research project. So these are projects that focus on research in the EU. And what these
Yeah.
projects do, so what they do is that they apply for these research grants for the EU projects.
Mm.
And once they have these research grants, they need to hire researchers to do the work on the EU projects. So basically,
Mm.
my PhD I was hired as a researcher on an EU project.
Okay.
And once you have the opportunity, once you're working as a researcher on the EU project, to do the PhD. So they have the university, which is University Carlos Tercero, in Spanish, Universidad Carlos Tercero, and that university there is basically linked to this research institute, and you can apply to that university there. So the idea here is that I'm hired as a researcher, so I was not hired as a PhD student. I
PhD
am a
candidate.
researcher. Exactly. So I'm
Mm.
hired as a researcher. I get paid as a researcher. I pay taxes. Then, in addition, I could also I'll apply for the PhD with the university and do the PhD in tandem together. So do the PhD, then also do the research that is paying my salary on the EU project.
Mm.
So basically,
Mm.
that is how that happened with the PhD. That was it.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's get down into these questions. The introduction was clear, I hope. If you guys have any questions, type in the comment section below. Don't forget to share it with friends and invite as many people to watch as possible. So, Why did you choose Italy for your master's degree? I know that the opportunity came from LinkedIn. Did you have any other options, or did you have any other, countries that you would have wanted or that you were looking at? So why did you have to choose Italy out of all?
Yeah, good point. Okay, now I'm gonna be honest here. I am lazy when it comes to applying for scholarships. Now, when it
Yeah,
comes to UK and US scholarships, they usually require a
very
lot of
competitive.
things. Exactly. And girl, I ain't got time for that. I've come to realize when it comes to scholarships, EU scholarships are easy. The documentation is usually, especially if you have the results, the grades, even better. Even if you don't have the grades, they don't ask for a lot. Now, for me, if I have
Yeah,
to go do an English exam and then do some other, no. So really, it was just for me the convenience. So it was there, and it was for me. It was easy to get, and I didn't have to do anything extra. I didn't have to go and do some English test and do some other, logical IQ test exam somewhere. So for me, that was it's the ease of EU. I think when
it
it comes
is.
to EU
Yeah.
scholarships, are really easy to get. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I relate with you because I also applied to the UK, I applied to Sweden and very many other countries. But let me tell you, Italy responded to me in like 3 weeks of my
Yeah.
application. And I was like, I'm going with this one. I don't have to wait for anything else. Everybody else that came later, I'm sorry. Yeah. So thank
Exactly.
you for
Yeah.
sharing that. I thought you went for the pasta or the man, the good looking man, or something, like that.
I mean, no.
So the other question is, how did you know about the scholarship? But you've told us. So let's go straight to the next one. What made you qualify for this particular scholarship? Apart from the good grades, what else you think made you qualify? Did you have like a good reference? Do you think you included something in your motivation letter that made you qualify for the Italian scholarship? What do you think made you stand out apart from the excellent 4.5 CGPA?
Well, okay, it was 4.35, eh?
4.3.
4.5, not really, yeah. Your girl got a little bit lazy.
1.5, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so what made me, I think the motivation later really, I think that really adds a lot because it's really
Mm.
from the motivation later that they get to know who you are as a person. And as I said, everybody has a unique story. So your motivation letter really, really counts. So even if you don't have the grades, you can make up for that with how you write your motivation letter, your personal story. And everybody has something, you know. Yeah, no, that's what your motivation letter is really important. Yes. And of course, if you have good references too, yeah. But I think motivation letter mainly, then good references. Yeah. Oh, that one I had to do a couple of interviews. So with the Italy one, there were no interviews. With the Spain one, I had to do interviews. So I was interviewed, I think like two times. I think two different interviews. And also with the interview and and the person I interviewed with later became my PhD supervisor. And what I
Um,
understood from that, so first of all, you need to know your stuff. So at least for the PhD, if you're applying for a PhD in a certain field, you need to be aware. You need to know. You need to know what you're talking about. So you need to know what you're applying for, right? So know your
mm,
stuff technically. So you cannot go around that. Technically, know your stuff. Then
mm,
the other thing is your how you come off in the interview, right? Because of
mm.
course they're going to ask you certain questions that you do not know, and how you
Yeah.
approach that determines that already tells the other person what your attitude is towards learning. So also how
Yeah.
you present yourself in the so apart from technically, of course, technically you have to know your stuff, but then also
Mm,
even if you don't know something within the interview is how you approach that, the fact that you don't know something, how you approach that. That's all that counts really. And also your personality. And I don't know, guys, let me tell you a secret, at least for me, that has worked for me. Don't be too
mm,
serious. Even in an interview, whenever there is an opportunity to smile, smile.
mm,
Give off the kind of energy that you want to be associated with. So for me, it's something that has always worked for me. Just laugh when you can. Of course, not in an interview. Don't just burst out laughing, but smile. Like, just remember whatever it is. Like exactly like how Hilda is doing. Like, Just smile. Just like it's not the end of the world, even if you don't get it, but just smile, just be happy, be present, right? So I think
Mm.
even that kind of energy, because we give up energy, and that energy, we've all made people where even before you talk to them, you say you don't like the person, but why? Because we give up energy, whether we know it or not, and that energy
Mm.
is what attracts people to us or not. So even that, even in these online calls, video, because of course you're going to do your interviews via Zoom or via Teams or whatever, your energy will radiate, your happiness, your view of life will radiate. So that energy is very important. And again, as I say,
Yeah.
it's smile. A smile always cut through anything. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just smile, even if you don't know.
Just
Sometimes if you don't know something. Yeah, and be real. Of course,
just
be
yeah.
authentic, and yeah,
Just to add to what you said about being friendly, it is a quality that is usually being assessed when
yeah,
you're, because then they want to see how you can relate with other people, how you can work nicely in a team, how you can, present your work and all of that. It's not really about you. Okay, yeah, knowing the technicality of things is one thing, but also how you
yeah,
present. Are you going to present it in a way that people are going to continue listening by, that body language and that connection? And usually it comes, when you're able to break the ice. If you're serious, like when you say,
exactly.
people be like, they might switch off. They might be like, we've seen lots of these, and usually most serious people just acting serious. You can tell, of course, you can't really fake it. Like you said, be real, please. If you
Yeah,
like to laugh, laugh. If you went to dance last night and there was something funny, remember it, laugh.
true.
How was how was the application process for you? Were there any challenges? Because we all know that during, let's say, any application process, there's usually, that anxiety to wait for things. Let's say systems breaking down. I do help many candidates apply for, these scholarships and study programs, and you might find that the system is breaking down, let's say 7 days to the deadline, and it's not even fixed. Did you face any challenges while you were applying?
Yeah. So I think with the Italy one, we had a challenge with actually the visas, I think. Yeah, there was something we had an issue with the visas because we were a group, and
Hmm.
I don't remember what the issue exactly was, but we had some issues with the visas. They were taking a bit longer. So then we had a day that was supposed to start, and I think it was the universe, I think, paying for the flight, and we thought we wouldn't get onto the flight. So we had the visas really. So just waiting and the anxiousness. So the visa for the masters, I think it was the visa process, but for the PhD, actually, the challenge was so the visa that was okay, but the challenge was more finding housing accommodation. So with the masters, with the accommodation, well, basically there are university residences, so it was easy. But with the PhD, I had to find my own accommodation. And let me tell you guys, if you're I don't even know how to say it, but let's just say the accommodation was a challenge, really. I don't know. I so of course I had people share with me different applications, and you go on an application, somebody has advertised the house, you apply, and somehow the house owner doesn't want you to rent their house for whatever reason. They don't even tell you, and then you keep
Yeah.
waiting. And I got so many rejections really looking for a house, and I was stressed. But what that process taught me, and I think most, I want to just say this for everybody who is going to come abroad, is that you're going to meet certain people that are just not going to accept you for whatever reason. Don't take it
Yeah.
personally.
It's not about you.
Exactly. It's not about you. Don't take it personally. For every no you're going to get, whether you're trying to apply for scholarships and they're saying no, whether you're trying to look for accommodation, in my case, where everybody's saying no, and you're like, am I going to sleep on the street? Just remember that the right people, those people that are meant to be in your life, those people will say yes. It may take some time, but they
I
will say
totally
yes.
agree.
And those are the people you want in your life. So if somebody says no, don't insist. If something is not working, don't insist on it, because the right people, the right environment that basically God wants you to thrive in, if you believe in God. I'm over my atheist phase right now. I'm back to, my believing phase. Please, yeah, those right people that God wants to be in your life, those people will say yes. So yeah, accommodation really
Yeah.
for me for the PhD, yeah, it was a challenge.
And it's worse now because now we're applying for, our candidates. it is almost impossible if you don't know someone to give you a room or to give you an apartment. It's nearly impossible to get an apartment
Mm.
right now without being scammed 5 times. And by
Mm.
scamming, I don't mean €100. They're taking thousands of euros. Then you have to pay, let's say, a 6 months deposit or a 3 months
Mm.
deposit. And now rent is extremely high in
Yeah,
Europe. So it is
yeah,
ridiculous. So if you don't know anyone or if you don't have anyone helping you on ground, it is tough. So when you say
it is.
accommodation, I can hear you. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. The next question, but before I do that, I want to say hello to everybody who has tuned in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe before you leave. Leave us a comment. If you have any questions, drop them down below and we'll be able to answer them towards the end of this live. Make sure you share this video with somebody that it might benefit. Share it on your WhatsApp status, on Facebook, and let people know what's happening. Don't be mean with information. Okay. The other thing is that which study destination did you prefer? Did you prefer Italy or Spain? I talked about this, but yeah, you can say it here.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay, I must say Spain for sure. I'm sorry, Hilda.
Italians have left the
I'm
chat.
sorry, Hilda, but like, yeah, I loved life in Spain. I loved life in Madrid. I even keep telling myself, I think apart from Uganda, Madrid is the only other place that has felt really like home. Like the people are
Oh.
amazing, that weather is amazing, the food, like Madrid for sure, for sure. But then also it's I think also just to give some credit to Italy. Italy, I was a master student, and as a master student, you don't have much money really. You're just trying to survive. They give you some money with a
Survive.
scholarship, and you're just trying to survive. So you don't have much to really get to visit, hang out a lot. You because you're really a bit constrained on the budget, but it's still yeah. So
How
that
long was your
also I
master's
think
degree?
yeah,
How long was
two
your
years.
master's degree?
They are
2
2
years. And
years,
the
2
PhD,
years.
5 years? How long was
No,
the
the PhD
doctorate?
around almost 4 years. 4 years.
Almost 4. Yeah, because I know you
Yeah.
have to do some research and then write papers and get them approved, published, and all of that.
Mm.
Okay, that's
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. It's very sad that when you come to Italy, we will say, no, don't come in. I'm sorry.
I know, I know, I know. But I miss the food, but Italy, yeah, of course, when it comes to food, Italy, nobody can compare the dessert. Like Italy, yes,
The
it's a
food is,
different kind of thing. Yeah, the food makes
yeah.
up for every other thing. Yeah,
The weather is good, but it's not as good as in Spain.
no, not at all.
Okay, so now we're here on the main reason why we're here. Tell us about the transition from studying your PhD to working. Was that an easy one? When I was, thinking about these questions, I thought you transitioned immediately. But in any case, you can tell us how that went.
Okay. So basically, once I finished the PhD, so basically what I did is before, because I knew I was going to graduate in June. So I knew I was going to graduate in June 2022. But so by February, I started looking for jobs. And again, I think
That's
for me, I've
hard.
always yeah, again for me, I've always loved Uganda. So all my friends know it. I'm always saying, I'm coming back to Uganda, I'm coming back to Uganda. So even after the PhD, my plan was to come back to Uganda, right? And then something tells me, of course, and then of course you get to meet people, and then they're like, "Why are you going back to Uganda? Why?" And I'm like, "Because it's my country. I love it. It's beautiful." Like, okay. And then of course, they keep challenging you, and you're like, "Okay, no problem. I will try to apply." And just
Yeah.
because people ask you, "Okay, you're going to go back to Uganda, and what?" And then I look at my field. Really, the opportunities are a bit limited on a PhD level, right? If I go back to Uganda than in Europe. So I
Mm.
really just say, okay, you know what, I have nothing to lose. So I'll try to just, put in some applications there. And which brings me back to, do you have LinkedIn? Right? That's where it is at. So first thing, go to when you're looking for a job. So when now you're starting looking for a job, go to LinkedIn, they have that tag open to work. Go put
Mm-hmm.
that, you're open to work. That's the first thing. Put there you're open to work. Next thing, again, as you're doing your master's or your PhD, make sure whatever whatever achievement you get, put it on LinkedIn, right? If you've managed to publish a paper, put it on LinkedIn. If you've managed to get a certification, put it on LinkedIn. If you've managed to do a course on Coursera or any of these other learning platforms, put it on LinkedIn, right? So by the time you're basically putting this chart that you're open to work, basically people by just looking at your last 5 posts, they know basically what you've been working on, and then also how you summarize your profile, put the topics, right? So in my case, like, at least in my field, you know that recruiters are looking, so in my field, recruiters are looking for things like automation, right? In my case, I was looking for virtualization. You're looking for things like what else? Maybe
Standardization.
network slicing. Standardization, exactly. So put those keywords in your profile and make sure you're posting about you're posting about your achievements, your academic achievements during the PhD. My thing is, please don't sleep on the job, right? Once you're doing the master, think about the next step. If you're doing the PhD, think about the next step, right? So keep updating your LinkedIn, and then once you already put that open to work, there's like something open to work thing. I don't know, it's a tag on LinkedIn,
Yeah,
and
I know.
then so
It's
exactly. So
green.
once you
Yeah,
put
it's green.
exactly, it's green, yeah, put open to work, and then the recruiters will start to come. Of course, not always depending on your field, but they'll become. And then also keep, and what I like with LinkedIn, you can basically specify whether you're looking for remote jobs. So you can also say whether it's remote. You can talk about which countries you're looking at. So you can really customize your filter. And then LinkedIn automatically, the algorithms keep bringing you all these jobs, this job,
Yeah.
this job, this job, and then also recruiters will start reaching out to you, like, guys, and even the let me tell you, like, I'm a dreamer. Like, when I said looking for jobs, I said, okay, so who are the big three, or so the big three for us in our field, you have Google, you have Apple, you have Facebook, you have Microsoft. And your girl went and applied to Apple. I went and applied to Google, went and applied to Facebook.
Well done.
I like, right, I saw this, so every time I saw something related to what I'm doing, I applied. So the thing is, Google and Apple never go back to me, which you should expect. Sometimes,
Yeah.
whatever reason, I guess they get so many applications, so they can't really access everything. But Facebook, surprisingly, they go back to me. Like, I wasn't really expecting it, but they go back to me, and I did the interview. But of course, it was computer science focused, and I'm not a computer scientist, and I am trying to be one, and it didn't go well. But then also after, I think, like, after a few weeks, another face now this was Facebook US, then
Yeah.
again Facebook UK reached out to me, and they wanted me to really again go through the process again, and I went through the process with them. And then there were several other companies that I applied for, and even in Spain itself, I had opportunities there.
Nice.
I got an opportunities there in Spain also. The only thing else I want to tell people, when you're applying for these jobs, start early. So if in my case, it was, I knew I was finishing in June, I started in February. But of course,
Mm,
at least start within 6 months. Mine, it was 4 months, but if you can start like 6 months before you plan to
mm,
graduate, start there, because you're going to get opportunities, but some of these opportunities also, you have to watch out on the terms and conditions of the opportunities. So for example, there's a certain opportunity I found in Spain, and for some reason, they were offering me a bit less than they had offered my colleague. Which colleague, we have the same qualifications, right? And then of course the reason was that for me, yeah, yeah, the colleague is exactly yes, the colleague is male, and of course also the colleague is not an immigrant, right? So the colleague is male and is Spanish. And then, of course, me, I'm an immigrant. And so what happened is that when it comes to negotiating the terms and conditions, they were giving me slightly less than my male colleague. And since my friend
mm,
had already told me what they were offering him, and we have the same qualifications, I'm like, I'm not accepting that, right? So also that is
mm.
why you need time, because
Negotiation. Yeah.
negotiate, you have time to negotiate. And also, if you see that a company is not treating you with the kind of, you don't feel like the terms are fair. For example, you
Mm,
have some colleagues that are already working there. Don't take it. You have to know from the word go. You have to feel that the company values you. And
mhm.
then also, just to say now, when it comes to my current job, I saw this title, like I saw an advert, guys. So the advert basically said the job title was Senior Network Automation and Standardization Specialist. Really, then I looked at the job title and I'm like, but Winnie, really, are you a senior? Are you a specialist? Like just the beginning one and the last one of the job, the job title. And then it was Nokia Bell Labs. And in our field, like Nokia Bell Labs, that is, that's where you want to be, because that's where the research happens. So that for us, Nokia Bell Labs, it's so prestigious. So, and then I looked at it, really the job title was huge. So when I saw the advertisement on LinkedIn, I'm like, but Winnie, really? I said, you know what? You got nothing to lose. Again, I clicked apply, and it was, you know, I put in my CV, and always my LinkedIn profile is updated. And I did like, the interview process was long, like 5 interviews with all different people, very smart people, yeah. And guess
Wow.
what? I got the job, and that's the job I'm currently doing. And I
Congratulations.
know, and it really is my dream job. Like, really, it's rare that you get to do your dream job, but I'm lucky that I get to do my dream job today. But really, I
Mm,
saw an advert, and the job title really seemed too big for me. Eh? I saw, and I'm like, but Winnie, really? But just believe
mm,
in yourself. I always
yeah.
believe, and I think, especially as an immigrant, you really got nothing to lose. Eh?
Yeah. You
Just
can always
saying,
go
you
back
have
home anyways.
exactly. So Uganda was always there, and then also throughout your studies, also you're going to have people look sometimes not treat you in a certain way. So you get to a
Yeah.
point in your mind where you really have nothing to lose, really. And that's something we have to take advantage of as immigrants, that it builds your mental strength, that you have nothing to
Yeah.
lose. So even an
Absolutely.
opportunity that where another colleague would basically shy away from, as an immigrant, you're like, I got nothing to lose. You just go and apply for it. Exactly.
Right?
And sometimes that's all it
Came
takes.
from
Then
my
you go
country,
through
I
the
can easily go
process,
back.
and yeah, really, yeah. That was a very long answer.
Yeah. That's really nice. What I learned from your experience is that you've got courage. Number two, you know who you are and you didn't settle for less. Number three is that you're not scared of the title or of anything, because sometimes women, from research, I read a research paper that said that women are always afraid of either the titles, or when maybe they say, these are the requirements, and if they don't have
Yeah,
one or two, oh no, 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 I'm not applying. But actually you might not have one or two, but then whatever else you can bring to the table is what they're actually looking for, which is something different from the men. Also, another thing that I learned is negotiation. I learned that in Europe.
yeah, yes, yes, yes. Yes, yeah, yeah. You are freezing a bit, but yeah, not yet. Still a bit frozen. Yes, hey. Yes, I can hear you, but the video is frozen. But before it was okay. Yeah, mm, yeah, yeah. It's better. Yeah,
Sorry if you're watching this, but men are really good at speaking, at marketing themselves, at bragging, while women are a little bit shy. So what we usually take is what we're given, whereas men ask. I learned
yeah,
this from my colleagues. They're always like, so I can do this, but really they can't do nothing. Like, they can't. They're always really confident, and women, we're always shy. We're always like,
yeah,
yeah, but in the job description they say that you have to do this, and I'm not able to do it. Say you can do it, and go and learn on the job. Go fidget with computers. Go call colleagues who are able to do it. Go call your friends, and you're gonna be able to do it. I have a friend of mine. She's called Linda. We always joke around with this.
yeah,
She went into this new job, and then we were talking about my first experience as well at
yeah,
my first job in Italy. I lied that I speak Italian. I didn't speak Italian, guys. So I lied that I spoke Italian at this job, and luckily during the job interview they asked me what language I prefer to be interviewed in, and I said English. So I passed the interview and actually got the job. Winnie, I sweated the first 3 weeks. Those emails were tough. I was like, yo, but guess what? From the experience, I didn't shy away. I didn't give up. I knew this
yeah,
was my time to start speaking Italian. I knew Italian, but I wasn't confident enough to speak. Also, I didn't have the working proficiency. I learned a lot
yeah.
of things. but I was so stressed in the first month. And by the time I was done, it was a 6 months
Yeah.
contract job. I was good. My Italian was working proficiency. Can you imagine? In just 6 months, it had
Amazing.
2 years, and I wasn't confident enough
Wow.
to speak. Hi, how are you? Give
Mm.
me this. Have this. Can we go for a drink? Thank you. That's all I could speak. But yeah, take up
Mm.
challenges if you know you're willing to do the work to learn. Of course, don't go to a job and just sit down and not learn to deliver. Because I remember
Yeah.
my boss uploading me. He's like, just that you got the courage to apply for a job,
Mm.
speak the language fluently is enough for us.
Mm.
So I used
Yeah.
to use Google. There's so many tools. I used to use Google Translate. I used to ask friends. I did a crash Italian language program. So I would like to encourage you that if you want the job so bad, you've got to do something so bad to actually get yourself
I
in there.
know.
You
Oh
have to do
my
something.
God.
Sit down and be like, they won't even reply to me. Who told you? Apply. Apply. But always
Exactly.
like, oh, they've already
Exactly.
chosen
Yeah.
their own people. They've already
Mm.
taken. Who told you? Apply and then see if they say no. Okay, move on to the next one.
Mm.
Don't say.
Exactly.
Don't be discouraged without actually trying. So I really like that. Let's
That's
go to
good.
the next
Yeah.
question.
I also have something I think that can help, like about this whole thing of just get the opportunity and figure it out later. Even technically,
Yes.
like technically it can work. I remember for the PhD, so they interviewed me because I theoretically I was good, practically I
Yeah.
didn't know much. So I remember my first meeting with my supervisor, my PhD supervisor. He tells me, "Hey Winnie, so I need you to go and remotely log into a certain server and do something." I had never worked with a server in my life, man. And I'm like, "What? I have to go and do what? Remotely log into a certain server." Dude, I had to first just Google how to remotely log into a Linux server. Like I had to go and say I do what everything was like, but like really now I'm telling you, I came from that person who didn't even know how to, configure server, even remotely log into a server somewhere, to someone who is actually setting up a data center that was actually
Wow.
being used by different vertical companies that working on the EU project I was working on. So that's
Wow.
just to tell you, you can't come really from zero to, to knowing whatever it needs to be done. But
Be
it takes the
done.
courage to be like, I can do it, right? Then get in
Yeah.
there and as Hilda
And
said,
figure it
try to
out.
ask everybody. I was asking my colleagues, like, so what do I do? They're sending me here. I'm like, oh my God. And then of course, don't over ask also. So
So
ask
the
a
thing is
little
that
bit and then figure it out on your own. Yeah. But yeah, sure, you can really make it,
jobs in Europe. Yeah, there
even
really
technically.
there's so many stories about especially the break
Yeah,
into once you're confident. And for example, right now nobody can tell me nothing because I know my stuff. I have good
exactly.
experience. I have upgraded. I have done the work to learn and upgrade and improve my education and become a better person. And also professionally, I have gone to so
Yeah,
many events. My confidence has improved. But let me tell you, it was not like this. Usually, the breaking job where you're like getting into the system was tough. But the stories
yeah,
are really interesting and they're so funny. But yes, I want to tell you, don't be shy. Don't be shy when you go to a new job or when you go to an interview because they can see with your body language
yeah,
and then they will try to intimidate you. But then try, of course,
exactly.
be polite. Try and be polite and then make sure that what you know is aired out there. They will know that this person knows their stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Next question. Yeah, tell us about the transition. Yeah, okay, you've told us. How did you apply for that job? You didn't tell me.
The job, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, you used LinkedIn as well? And then you got
Yeah,
the yeah, you told
it was
us
on
you got
LinkedIn.
5 million.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um,
LinkedIn.
but
That's that's
how did you
that's
feel?
that's
How did
good.
you feel after because I believe you had some life going on in Uganda because you had returned for a few years, right? So how was the transition like to guys, bye me, I'm going to France.
No, for the PhD. You mean after the PhD?
Yeah, after the PhD you came back to Uganda, right?
No, no, no. I didn't. It's
Ah,
after the
you
masters is when I went back to Uganda. But after the PhD, I didn't go back to Uganda. So I
you
basically
just
left
crossed over,
Madrid
right?
to France. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh my
yeah, yeah,
God,
yeah.
how was that? How was the transition from Spain to France? Because France is a little bit more serious or like weird.
we, bien sûr, we,
What is a
yeah,
comportement?
we,
They always get, yeah. So coming from Spain, which is a
yeah,
little bit laid back, people
we,
speak
on parle français. Ouais,
English.
okay.
English
Yeah, but
next. So how was that for you?
yeah, yeah, maybe just Spain. They keep time, eh? They keep time. They
Sometimes.
are, yeah. Some I think it depends on the Spanish people you met, Hilda. The Spanish people I know, those they keep time. Actually, I had to work on my keeping time.
No, no, no. Spain to Uganda. Spain. If you're relating Spain to Uganda, then it's a different kind of story. Because Uganda, we give up. Like we don't
Yes,
respect
yes.
time. We don't respect time in Uganda. That one I
No,
know.
no. In Uganda, we don't have that concept at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. But like Spain to
In
France.
France, yeah, it's yeah, for sure. The attitude of the people is a bit different. The French are standoffish, and basically, for lack of a better word, really, exactly like you they saying, like that's like but actually it's different. You see, when you're a student, student life is a bit different. So the PhD your students, so you have all your fellow PhD students, you hang out together,
You have like a
you go
community.
out, you have a social life,
Yeah.
social life, just you as nerds is enough social life, then
Right.
you come to the working environment, and that's of course now it's different. Working environment, people are grown, man. People have families, people have kids. So they come to work, and then after work you don't see each other until the next day. So it was an adjustment for sure. And also, to be honest, I'm still getting around. I'm still getting used to France for sure. But I love the job. So for me the job is it's my dream job, really. I can't say that again.
And I'm very
Yeah,
happy for you. I just
thank you.
remembered when you said that you had a community. When we met and we went dancing with all your friends, and they were all so much fun. You couldn't even think that they were PhD candidates. We have this
Yes.
idea of PhD candidates.
Uh,
These guys were
yeah.
going down. Everybody was wearing trainers, shorts, and they were really cool and dancing. And I was like, wow. I mean,
Yeah,
I experienced that too, like
exactly.
for the bachelors, but I think PhD candidates nowadays are a little bit more loosened up, and it's more fun right now. It's no longer as
Yeah,
strict old people. It's really young people doing PhDs right now in Europe. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very interesting. When did you move to France? How many months is it now, or how many years?
Now it's coming to 2 years. Yeah, two
And you're still
years.
getting used. Mm.
I'm still getting used to, yeah, that's true. But also because my job involves a lot of travel, so I feel also that hasn't given me time to really, sink in. Yeah, and get to find my crew, basically, if I can say that. So I'm still getting used to it, really. Yeah. Hila, you're freezing. Uh, you're freezing. Your voice was a bit frozen. Yes, the voice is clear. Yes, the voice is clear. Okay, so I can say working in France is it's really nice. I think the labor conditions are pretty okay. Now the strikes were because they were yes, the strikes were because they had increased the retirement age. I think from 62 to 64, which for us, for me, it's like, guys, but they've been expecting their retirement. I think, yeah, I think their retirement is at it's like 62 or 60, and they were increasing them to like just by 2 more years. And then it's like saying that, yeah, anyway, you understand. So it's really, but just that, but really in France, it's you have 21 days. Okay, so you have 21 days of annual leave. On top of that,
Mm.
because in France you cannot work more than a certain number of hours. So I think you can't work more than, I think, 7 hours. I think, and then usually we tend to work
Per
more than
day.
7 hours per day. So you can't work more than 7 hours a day, and usually we work more than seven
Mm.
hours a day. So to compensate for
Mm.
that, on top of the 21 days of leave, you get an extra 15 days. So
Mm.
so think about it, that in France, I almost end up having like even plus another extra day. So you end up having almost 37
37 days.
days of annual leave. So almost 2 months, really, almost two
Yeah.
months. You have
So
almost
these are work days, not weekends. Yeah.
no, like, so you have 21 days of annual leave, then another 15 days
18
because
days.
we work more than 7 hours a day.
Oh.
So
Mm.
so in essence, in a year, basically, as a French person, you can end up working only for 10 months, and 2 months
Mm.
usually is vacation. So the conditions are really, really good in that way. Yeah.
Europe, the
Yeah,
working
because
conditions in Europe are really good, by the way, compared to like maybe the US and Canada. There's more work-life balance than
exactly.
well-being life, basically. So that is one reason why I actually like to work in Europe. Do you have
Yeah,
anything else
Europe
to
is
tell
better.
us?
Yeah. Yes, maybe just to mention, because I have friends in the US, and in US, I think they almost don't get even time off, really. So even when you get time off, it's not really paid. Even maternity leave is very limited. Like, oh my God. And you have to work for really a good company. Otherwise, it's, yeah. So the working conditions, at least Canada is a bit better, but yeah, US, it's, oof, yeah, it's really capitalism at its best. In France, yeah, yeah, yeah. In France, yeah, I know. Okay, am I? Yeah, yeah, 4 months. Yeah, so in this case, I think Spain is better, I guess. Italy is how many? Yeah, yeah. I think Spain is the same. I think it's also 6 months. Yeah, but France, yeah, France it's 4 months. Unless you have twins, then it's a bit longer.
But we will continue. Is this the first European country that you get to work in, or do you have another European country that you've worked in, apart from Spain and France, of course?
No, no. Basically, I worked in Spain and France because also when I was doing the PhD, I was also teaching at the university. So as a teaching assistant to my professor, so I also got that teaching experience when I was in Spain. So really, yeah, Spain and France.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention also in education in Italy, maternity leave is 1 full year. Really
Oh
nice.
my God.
Yes, it's the minute you're pregnant, you're off work if you're teaching early years. Primary, secondary, you stay and then you take the year after
Oh,
you deliver or whenever, 2 months or 3 months. Yeah, because
wow.
they need a lot of support and that. How was working in Spain for you
Mm,
compared to
working.
France?
Okay. Let me see what's different. Okay, I don't know if there's much difference. I think Spain has a bit more. They have more days, more public holidays. It looks
Mhm.
like Spain has more public holidays, but then I realized in France I end up with actually more off days and like leave days. I have like almost 2 months. So in Spain you can have leave. You have annual. They also have like quite a bit of public holidays.
Uh,
Here it's a little different. Less public holidays per se, but they're almost the same number, but you have more annual leave days. And Then of course, for at least with my company, every year you work, you're entitled to more annual off days. So if you began with 21, maybe at the end of the next year you have like 22 or 23, then
Well, that's really
24,
nice. That's
25. So every year you work, yeah, you actually, yeah, you get more annual leave. And then also they you even get some increment every year. So I think the comparison here is going to be really, when it comes to money, of course you're going to get a higher salary in
mm,
France compared to Spain, but of course also France is more expensive, so you have to take that into consideration. So you get more money here, but it's more expensive. But also if you get, so in my case, that I was lucky to work for an international company, you have increments every year. The conditions are really good. So in terms of work, of course, I would say France. In terms of social life, Spain. Uganda. Yeah. Honestly, one of the things that motivated me to go for the PhD was that in Uganda, the jobs that I seemed to attract were really teaching jobs, lecturing jobs. And for me to make the ends meet, I had to teach in more than one university. I think at some point I was teaching in like 4 universities just to make ends meet. So I had to, so basically I would have to work more jobs if I'm into lecturing, especially because I was not a government lecturer. In Uganda, if you're working for the government, really it's better. You get better money, better conditions, and everything. If you are a part timer, so part timer, those are lecturers that are not officially employed by the government. Then it's a bit tough if you want to make ends meet. You have to teach in more universities. But I love teaching, so that was not a problem. So for me, then I used to wake up early. Actually, one of the reasons I wanted to do the PhD because I was tired of waking up so early to be traffic jam. I said I need to get a job where I can wake up, at 8 o'clock and start work at 9. Yeah. So in that, yeah. Then of course, yeah. And then also when you're a lecturer and you're a part time, you're not a government lecturer. You don't even have annual leave. So I didn't even have annual leave really. You're just you get rest when students are on holiday, really. So when students are on holiday, that's when you take the break. And so the conditions are a little different. But I think if you're employed by the government, I think it's much better and it's really good because you even
much
have more
better.
free time and you can do other things
Mm,
outside of that. Yeah, different conditions,
wow.
yeah.
Okay, depending on what level, who's higher.
Mm, mm, mm.
Of the sort.
Yeah, yeah,
That's very good.
yeah, yeah. Honey, you have to apply when they advertise, and you just have to apply and go through the interview process and
Uh,
pray your luck. Yeah.
so it's not like you choose to, let's say, be private and part time, and then be full time and government. It's an application that you have to send in. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, exactly. You have to yeah, the public universities advertise and then you apply. You do the interviews and then they let you know if you've succeeded, then you get onto the payroll. I actually did one interview before for that, and I didn't go through really. I tried to apply for that to get the government, yeah, the government to be on the government payroll, and I didn't go through. And I think now in
Mm.
retrospect, I thank God I didn't get that opportunity because I think if I had
Because
gotten
then you would have.
if because I love
Yeah.
teaching, I would still be doing it up to now. And now when I look at,
Mm.
yeah, so again, the way God does things is if some opportunity doesn't come, it's because something God has something else for you. So it's all God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hilda, you're breaking. Yes, I can hear you. Okay. Oh, honestly, I love Europe. Like now, I can say like I'm like another my other citizenship is somewhere in Europe. Like I love Europe. The reason why I like Europe, especially the scholarships and the universities, they don't require so much to do, right? So if you're like me and you don't want to go through having to process a lot of documentation just to get a scholarship, yes. I'm saying I would recommend people to actually look for scholarships in Europe. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah.
Not only travel and explore and experience, but also you have, this wide range of opportunities to tap into. You don't just have to apply to study, let's say, where you studied. For instance, I am working in Italy and I studied in Italy. But look at you, you got to apply to Spain, I mean to France, even though you were studying in Spain. And it was an
Yeah.
easy move. You didn't have to get an visa, get all these other things. So
Oh, you
I
need a
believe
visa,
Europe
eh?
is really,
I still had to apply for a visa.
sorry.
I had to apply for a visa.
But like it's not like the hard way you did it in Uganda. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, 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 yes.
Because imagine, if you had that opportunity and you were in Uganda, the amount of requirements they would have asked for: father's house, father's kidney, father's everything, literally.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
ask of requirements that are ridiculous, in my opinion.
yeah. Mm.
So that's the last question. Thank you so much. Let's go through the questions and answer them. Somebody said, "Girls, I'm a student in second cycle for 5 years, master. How can I repeat the date?" The question is very clear. Do you understand it, Winnie? I don't think I got it. It says, "Girls, I'm a student in second cycle for 5 years, masters. How I can repeat the master in Italy without a bachelor's degree?" I
Mm.
think one of the requirements for a master's degree is either another master's degree or a bachelor's degree, but like the fundamental requirement is a bachelor's degree. So I think there's no way around that. You've got to wait out your five cycle so that you can actually go straight from bachelor's to there. How did you grow? That doesn't make sense. How long did it take? How long did it take? I think this question was asked when you were talking about the master's degree.
Yeah. For the masters, I guess, yeah, 2 years, and
Mm,
then the PhD was 4 years. Yeah. Then the application process was really smooth. Really. Yeah.
okay. Okay, I think that's all the sensible questions that are there. I'm not going to read the others. I'm glad that after the live they will disappear. I think I have to put on the there's that encryption where spammers don't just enter the live and all of that. It's been very insightful. I'm going to save it on the channel so that people that are not able to join can be able to watch it afterwards. Because I know majority were like, oh, the hour. I'm like, that is the only time that Winnie and I could find. So yes,
Yeah.
that it can be saved. Thank you so much again. I hope to see you in France. Or in
When?
Italy. You can visit me in Milan.
When?
That would be great. Can I know which city you're living in?
It's called Massy. Yeah, it's close to Paris. Basically. It's one of
Ah,
the suburbs of Paris. Yeah.
beautiful. It's really beautiful. I like it. Paris, in my opinion, is overrated. People can come and shoot me if they want. But in my opinion, Paris is overrated. And if I ever lived in France, I would choose another city and not really the capital. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bit of drama and all of that. Meanwhile, every time I come to France, there are strikes. There's something going on.
Yeah, that's why we live in the suburbs, man. Yeah, yeah. There's
I
always
give it
some
up for
stress
Paris. Like
coming.
I give it up for Paris because there's always like rubbish strike. There was a time public transport was on strike, and they're really strict with their strikes because they don't just play about you go on strike today and then tomorrow it's done. No, if they're striking, they want things changed and they won't stop until things are changed. So I think I like their labor laws. They're really strict, which I think
Yeah.
Italians need maybe to copy or Spanish people need to copy because in Italy they'll be like, we're going to have a train strike from 9 to 3, 6 hours. So that's why things don't change. But in Spain and in France, they'll be like, we're not working or we're not going back to work until things have changed like this and this and that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Something else? Do you want to share your details? I'm going to share Winnie's details down in the description box. Her LinkedIn is very active and I follow her. Her channel. Do you want me to share something else? Your Instagram?
No, no, really. I'm not really that. I'm
Active,
more of
yeah.
a spectator on Instagram. Yeah, yeah, but LinkedIn for sure. Yeah.
LinkedIn. Okay, I will share that. Thank you so much. I don't know if you want to add anything before we leave.
No, really, yeah, Hilda, thank you for this. At least, yeah, thank you for this opportunity. It's where I get to share my experience at least with other people. Hopefully, you can, get something from it, or maybe even just for information purposes. And I wish you all the luck on your way. And my last point is, if you're in whatever stage in your life you're on, really whatever you're trying to chase is just go for it and believe in yourself, and yeah, all will be well. Even if it doesn't work out, it will work out next time. So it doesn't matter how many no's you get.
Thank you so much, my dear Winnie. Again, thank you so much for accepting our invite. I hope to see you soon in either France or in Milan. Okay?
For
Right. Thank
sure,
you.
for sure, for sure.
Bye.
Thank
Have
you.
a lovely.
Bye
I
bye.
think it's lunchtime in France, right? What time do you guys have lunch? Is it 12?
Yes, exactly at 12. Yeah.
Bon appetit.
Merci beaucoup.
Bye,
Ciao.
Dad. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.